I feel I have power and I have still the motivation to make not only the game, I like to make the difference. And then I saw why I was so good player, because I score unbelievable goals. The Italian player has quality, but the German make the difference. I had the passion for football, the motivation for football, and don't forget, the love for football.
As sometimes happens with players, especially a player like Matthaus, with such a long career, when he hangs up his boots, you have a certain image of him.
He was so explosive and so good, so nobody could hold him.
Lothar was a great champion. He's a talent of the century.
I born in Herzogenaurach. Herzogenaurach is Puma and Adidas, the factories. It was a dream for me, not only to be a professional football player, the dream was to be a professional football player by Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Jupp Heynckes was the one who discovered him. On a Saturday in May 1978, he went to Herzogenaurach. In that game, he scored 2 goals. And in the afternoon, he also played for the senior team. So another match, and after 90 minutes, he scored another 2 goals.
I was going to the training session. Bertie Vogts was a player, Alan Simonsen was a player, Jupp Heynckes was the second coach, Udo Lattek the first coach, and I come from the village, 17 years old, with my dad, and was going to the training session like this. But then we start the training and I forgot everything. I like to show them only how I am good, how I am strong. And after the first training session, Bertie Vogts was calling the manager of Mönchengladbach and told him, hey, you have to sign immediately with him. Don't wait another 3 days, maybe somebody catch him. Okay, after 1 day I was going to the office and signed my first professional contract. And this is a story. This was the beginning.
Lothar Matthaus turned professional in 1979 with Borussia Mönchengladbach. And the talented midfielder wasted little time in making a name for himself at his boyhood club.
At that time, he was, I think, we would now probably call him a defensive midfielder. A very dynamic player, you know, that was always what set him apart. You know, he could suddenly explode and then make things happen.
The captain, Bertie Vogts, couldn't believe an 18-year-old was so cheeky during training, and already the biggest star.
This was a great season. From the 4th division, in the 1st division, in the UEFA Cup final, I think it's a dream for each young boy.
It wasn't long before another dream came true for Matthaus. Aged just 19, he made his international debut for West Germany at the 1980 European Championships in Italy.
You never believe after 1 year you go to the national team. I was thinking on the first moment somebody called me, hey, you go with the national team to the European Championship.
2 years later, he'd experienced the first of 5 World Cups at Spain '82.
The World Cup is something special, and to see what's going on with a lot of pressure, with the media, with a lot of games, with travel, with the organization. And sure, when you train every day with the best player from Germany, you can learn.
And Lothar Matthaus was a fast learner.
This was one of his strengths. He was just so strong mentally that he never gave up.
My brother had only one flaw. He couldn't lose. If he ever lost, he'd never want it to happen again.
Matthaus' self-belief and talent proved he could compete with the very best, but he wanted more. In 1984, German giants Bayern Munich came in with a record bid of just over £1 million for the 23-year-old. It was a challenge too tempting for the league's brightest prospect to turn down.
It's a big difference between the club. Bayern Munich has to win titles. Mönchengladbach is happy when they win one title. I was full with confidence. I was one of the best players in Germany, and Bayern Munich want me.
Lothar Matthaus was...
From the very beginning, you could see that Lothar Matthaus was a unique player. He was someone who had such great talent.
Success arrived quickly. Matthaus won his first Bundesliga title in his debut season at Bayern, but it was his second season that will be remembered forever.
It was the most unbelievable Bundesliga season ever.
It's an absurd story.
The whole season was almost like a story from Greek mythology, only with the bad guys winning.
All the year we was the second in the league. Werder Bremen was the top, and on the 33rd game day, the second last, we played against Werder Bremen in Bremen. And when Bremen win this game, they are the champion. We can do nothing.
It was 0-0, not much was happening. And then the Bayern player and bounces away in the touch. And while the Bayern player is scrambling after the ball, the referee points at the spot.
Michel Kutsop, who was a very solid penalty taker, unfortunately hit the post with his penalty in the 90th minute.
And this was our chance in the last game to win the championship. VfB Stuttgart has to win against Werder Bremen, and we has to win against Borussia Mönchengladbach at home. The game was on the same time. I think it was 4 or 5-0 after the first half. Sometimes it was only with 7-8 players on the field playing against Mönchengladbach. For us, it was more interesting and more important to listen the result from Stuttgart and not our game. It was crazy. They won 2-1 against Werder Bremen, and we won our game easy against my ex-club Borussia Mönchengladbach 6-0. When was the final whistle and you saw the screen, German champion Bayern Munich in the season 85-86. This was so emotional in the stadium, unbelievable.
Following success for his club, Matthaus' attention now turned to the national team and the 1986 World Cup in Mexico. West Germany would go all the way to the final, but come unstuck, losing 3-2 to an Argentinian side inspired by the world's greatest player, Diego Maradona. However, Matthaus' performance throughout the tournament didn't go unnoticed, as he was now on the radar of some of Europe's biggest clubs.
I didn't go to Neapel. Maradona wanted me in Neapel to play with me in one team. He sent his guys from Neapel to Munich with the cash money in the luggage. Unbelievable.
Matthaus decided to stay in Germany. It proved the right decision as he went on to claim his third league title with Bayern. In the same season, he was given the chance of European glory.
Ahead of the 1987 European Cup final, Bayern Munich against Porto, and Bayern went into the game as the favourites. They said that it's up to Matthaus now. He has to come through, he has to rise to the occasion.
In the first half, we were in control against Porto. We really should have been at least 3 goals ahead. In the second half, we could barely get into the game. Nobody knew why and how that...
In 4 seasons with Bayern, Matthaus won 4 trophies, including 3 league titles. But he knew if he wanted to be considered one of the game's very best, he would have to prove himself in Italy.
It was well known that in the 1980s, every single player in Europe wanted to play in the Italian league.
In '88, Robertoni comes sometime to Munich and he asked me, Lothar, I need you, I need a leader, I need somebody who makes a difference on the highest level. And he really supported me.
Matthaus would leave Bavaria for Inter Milan in 1988, along with his West Germany and Bayern teammate Andreas Bremer.
Matthaus was a key player for Inter. He had personality, strength, character, grit. He gave his heart and soul on the pitch. He really was a fighter. Inter needed a player like that.
The German would contribute 12 goals in his debut season in Italy, with perhaps the most important coming against their closest rivals Napoli at the San Siro.
We were playing against Maradona and Careca in that game, 2 major figures of global football, and so we knew how tough it would be.
We knew that we were able to win the championship that day. At the start, we were all a bit nervous, and Napoli were winning 1-0 at half-time.
We came out with more determination. The manager Trapattoni changed the formation, and Nicola Berti equalised. Then Matthaus had his free kick. And it was that free kick that won Inter the championship.
The most emotional championship what I won ever was in Italy. It's nicer to win the championship at home against Naples with Maradona in a full stadium. This was amazing.
Inter's 13th Scudetto, their first since 1980, was won by a record 11 points. If Matthaus wasn't already a world star before he arrived in Italy, he was now.
He's the best foreign player I ever played with. When he said we were going to win, we won. When he said he was going to score, he scored.
Lothar Matthaus played the brave kind of football. Always attacking, with intent.
The Italian player has quality, but the German make the difference.
After defeats in the previous 2 finals, West Germany were hoping the 1990 World Cup in Italy would be 3rd time lucky.
The favourites were obviously Italy, because they were the host. But for West Germany, and the coach, Franz Beckenbauer, they were convinced that they had a strong side.
And for Beckenbauer, Matthaus was the only player capable of finally leading the nation to glory.
Lothar was flawless. He was a very good leader. I discussed things with him on a daily basis.
He was a perfect leader, and it was the best time of his life. That's what I think. At least on a football level. He was the captain you could only wish for.
5 members of the West Germany squad were playing their domestic football in Serie A at the time. Led by Matthaus, West Germany demolished Yugoslavia 4-1 in their opening match, but that victory will be remembered for a special goal from their special captain.
The one moment from the World Cup that sticks in the mind is how in the opening match Matthaus takes the ball and then makes a tremendous run upfield and scores against Yugoslavia. That signaled so many things, not just the arrival of West Germany as one of the favourites, but also the arrival of Matthaus.
To win the first game and to win it in this style is always very, very good for every nation, because it gives you like second wind, and we are in the tournament and we are strong.
Beckenbauer's men qualified for the knockout stage as group winners. They then beat the Dutch in a memorable first-round game, before breaking English hearts in the semi-final after a dramatic penalty shootout. Then it was a chance for revenge, a final against Argentina and Diego Maradona.
We were the better team. Argentina only focused on defending, relying on Maradona in attack.
Then the referee gave us a penalty who was maybe only 60%.
You can't be discussing who'll take the penalty on the pitch. The decision to take it was based on whoever was feeling more confident.
In the first half, I broke something down in my shoes, and in the halftime, I changed my shoes. When you are not sure, especially by penalty, when you run and then you forget, by penalty you start to sing, and this was around 2-3 minutes before Andreas Brehme was shooting the penalty. And I told to Andy, Andy, you know I have new shoes, please do it and score.
It didn't matter whether it was my left or right foot, but with my right foot I felt more comfortable.
Brehme's penalty in the 84th minute would be enough to give West Germany a 1-0 win. For the first time since 1974, West Germany were world champions.
Most emotional feeling was when you get the cup. You go there, all 4 years, one team can get the cup. Germany was waiting 16 years to win again a World Cup. Maybe you cannot see the emotional in the moment, but I was full with emotion and full with happiness.
It really was a team full of talent. It had gathered experience over the years and reached its peak in 1990 by winning the World Cup. It was well deserved, no doubt about it.
After captaining his country to World Cup glory, the accolades continued to pour in for Matthaus. In 1990, he was voted the German and European Footballer of the Year, before becoming the first player to win the inaugural FIFA World Player of the Year in 1991.
I was making sometimes the difference in the game, not only in the national teams, the same in the most important championship in the world.
This award was also recognition for winning the World Cup in 1990. Lothar was at the peak of his sporting career at that time, and so it was definitely deserved. No question about that.
Matthaus' fairy tale time in Italy endured a nightmare ending as he would suffer a serious knee injury. For the 31-year-old, it looked like the end.
Not all, when some player has these problems, he can never come back. But I was talking about the Italian player, not about the German player. And then I was talking with Franz Beckenbauer. Maybe I can go back to Bayern Munich, because in this moment I didn't feel Inter is behind me. Inter want me back. Inter believe me. No, nothing.
Matthaus would make the move back to Bayern Munich in 1992, but questions still remained whether he would ever return to top form.
And I had the first game, the second game, the third game, and I didn't score goals, and I didn't play great. Then they had the headline, oh, Bayern Munich bought an old player, he's never coming back, and after he's injured, and. But I feel I have power, and I have still the motivation to make not only the game, I like to make the difference. And then was the fourth or the fifth game after this long break, in the corner. Touch a little bit the balls, go down, go up, go down, go up. And this was for me, wow, free.
Mark saying, I am back. Franz Beckenbauer started there as coach in January 1994. And the first thing he did was to reinstall the position of the sweeper. And who should play in that position? Obviously the best man, the best footballer who played for Bayern Munich back then after Beckenbauer. And that was Lothar Matthaus.
He began up front and improved our attack. Later on, he went into his old position more and more and began playing in front of the defence, so in the typical number 6 position. He then started playing as a sweeper, as teams did back then, in a fantastic way.
That decision proved pivotal. A 4th Bundesliga title soon arrived for Matthaus, and just as in 1986, it was dramatic.
It was the last match of the season. We needed to win.
The last game day, stadium was full, and I scored a beautiful free kick against Lehmann.
I managed to hit it early. A beautiful shot.
2-0, Jorginho scored the second goal, and we had something to celebrate, and Franz Beckenbauer was the coach.
You could always rely on Lothar Matthaus 100%.
It was a different story internationally for Matthaus. First, Bulgaria would shock the world by knocking out the holders Germany in the quarter-finals of the 1994 World Cup. He was then left out of the Germany squad that won Euro 96. But that wouldn't be the end for Matthaus. Another German title followed in 1997, as did a return to international football at his 5th World Cup finals in 1998.
He always gave everything for himself and for the team. That's why he was so valuable.
Then, in 1999, Matthaus, along with Bayern, were given the opportunity of European redemption and righting the wrongs of their haunting defeat to Porto back in 1987.
Boss game, we told similar. Boss game.
And had the chance to win the match. Carsten Janke hit the bar. Then Mehmet Scholl hit the post.
With 10 minutes left and Bayern looking most likely to add to their 1-0 lead, Matthaus was substituted.
We lost our focus and conceded twice. And we were so upset about having given away that trophy that we thought we'd won.
1987, Porto was better all 90 minutes. But 1999, I think we was a better team, but on the end won Manchester United, and that's it.
Despite heartache in Europe, the 98-99 season did see Matthaus and Bayern crowned kings of Germany once again. And for Matthaus, he was named German Player of the Year for a second time at the age of 38.
I learned a lot from him. His professional attitude, lifestyle, the way he played football. How Lothar lived was unique. In training, he always gave 100%. He never stopped.
12 months later, Matthaus would leave Bayern after a combined 12 years. Yet he couldn't say goodbye without completing a domestic double, which included his 7th Bundesliga winner's medal.
The player liked to win titles. When I speak about love, it's Borussia Mönchengladbach. When I speak about the professional thinking for the player and to play for the best club in Germany, then I have to say this is Bayern Munich.
Matthaus then bid farewell to international football after making a record 150 appearances at the 2000 European Championships.
To play 20 years in a football country like Germany in the national team, this show me, I really was living for football. I had the passion for football, the motivation for football, and don't forget, the love for football.
After playing one season in America with the Metro Stars, Matthaus' love affair with football ended in October 2000 at the age of 39. Over 700 games, 14 major domestic trophies, a European and World Cup winner, and the first ever World Player of the Year. If greatness is based on achievements, Matthaus is one of the greatest.
He was one of the best players I've played with in my life. Matthaus was different to a Maradona or to a Zico. He played the game in a much more simple way, but a very efficient player.
Everybody will say maybe Franz Beckenbauer was the best ever, but then for me, Lothar Matthaus definitely is.
Lothar Matthaus was a player close to perfection, no doubt about that. He's on that list of German football legends.
I would describe him as a talented...
I never was believing why I was so good. I saw Maradona, wow. I saw Gullit, wow. I saw Van Basten, wow. And I was looking this tape, video, with all my goals.